Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, me and DC Soap Sanctuary are going to be doing another collab, and my idea, because we was kind of brainstorming, my idea is to do the best and worst couples from this year. So, if anyone has any ideas about the best and worst couples, definitely write it down in the comment section below. I will take a look at it, and when we do the collab and stuff like that, we'll bring those names up and we'll sit there and discuss about it and stuff like that. So EJ asked Nicole out. Nicole's like, we have history, and it's not good history. I'm assuming that it's not good history. I've only started watching it recently, but EJ seems like the type of person that he does things, and if things happens, it's just, oh wow, it's another Monday. But she's like, I don't know, we don't exactly have really good history, and yada yada yada, but she doesn't say no yet. Then Brady walks in, and Brady's like, yo, don't do it, don't go out with him. And EJ is just like, yo, listen, why don't you mind your business and worry about your own love life? Since you're not going out with Kristen, and, are you two a thing? No? Oh, okay, so you got nothing going on, right? Okay, cool. So, I'm sorry, how is this conversation any of your business? Pretty much. Anyway, they go out in the hallway, and EJ talks to her some more, and he pretty much convinces her to go out with him. They have history. She's lonely. She wants to get over Rafe. It will spite Sammy. So, why not? Hell, he does actually call her his favorite ex. So, there's that. So she agrees to go out with him. He leaves, and Brady's like, yo, listen, I'm just gonna sit there and tell you right now, if this blows up in your face, just remember, I did warn you. I did warn you, and you decided to do it anyway, so good luck with, whatever happens. Ava and Philip. Not gonna lie, names are starting to get a little kind of blurred now. You got a Phyllis that's on Young and Restless. You got another Phyllis that's on General Hospital, and then you got Philip. So if I start to screw up some of these names, this is why. I hope there's not a Phyllis or whatever on Bold and the Beautiful, because I'm already dealing with two different Fens that are apparently both doctors, but whatever. The hell was I talking? Oh yeah, Philip. So Ava's like, pretty much Ava and Philip are talking, and Ava's like, listen. At first, Philip was like, listen, I want your help to sit there and take down Gabby. And she says no. And I'm like, okay, I kind of thought you would jump at the chance. But then she changes her mind and she's like, alright, I'll do it, but I want something in return. And so Ava is going to give, the plan is to take out Jake. Using his past, his mob and stuff like that, his past mob stuff, as blackmail. Some of the stuff that he did could land him in jail for a very long time, and Ava has the goods on that. And tells Philip, like, yo, listen, we take down Jake. We sit there and tell Gabby, hey, listen, we got evidence that can put him away for life, or for a very long time. Now, you can get your boyfriend out of this, but you're going to have to sit there and give up Gabby Sheik. In order to do it. This way, it's a 2-for-1, and also, I guess it'll be a test, like, does Gabby really loved that company more than she loves Jake. I guess we'll sit there and find out. Now, in exchange, Ava wants to run Gabby Shake. And Philip was like, I don't know, because, I mean, one, my dad, and two, I don't need you running that company into the ground. But Ava's like, yo, listen, I've ran companies before, and I've ran one company that doesn't exactly favor women being the boss of stuff. So pretty much just don't underestimate me. So he thinks about it, he's like, you know what, fine, I'll do it. You know, at this point, this is his best option. I mean, especially considering that Gabby and Jake are plotting against him literally as he's speaking. So they're waiting for a call back from Angelo to give him some dirt. Now you got Jake, you got Gabby. You know, Gabby is complaining, you know, about Ava, like the typical immature high school little girl that she is. So when she's done with that, the hell happens? Oh, Gabby's like, hey, you know, you used to work in the mob. How about you call up one of your boys or whatever and have her killed? And I'm like, Gabby, what the hell is wrong with you? You want Jake to call up one of his old mob contacts to kill Ava because you don't like her. Okay, Gabby, wow, I don't even know what to say to that. Jake is like, it's a bad idea. First of all, you don't want to touch her, because if you do that, it's not going to end well. Like life or death kind of wow. And he doesn't want to sit there and do that because, listen, he barely got out the mob, and practically Jake is like, yo, listen, they do the long game. So at any point in time, they feel like they need me. They could just be like, hey, Jake, I need you to do a job. Now, he does tell Gabby a little bit about what he did. Like, he never killed people, but he did rough them up for protection money. I have a feeling that I'm going to sit there and start watching all four of these shows, and they're going to start to bleed into each other. I'm sitting there thinking about protection money. I'm sitting there thinking about Jason and Sonny and what they do. But, you know, he's just like, yo, listen, it's a life. I don't want to sit there and tempt that. I don't need them being on my back. And it's just not a world I really want to sit there and get back into. So Gabby's like, alright, fine. But really got to sit there and brainstorm how to sit there and take out Philip. Because, you know, he's been so nice to me and a gentleman and actually, you know, gave me a chance when Jake practically kicked her to the curb. But whatever, this makes sense to her somehow. So they go back to Rafe's place, because let's be honest, it's literally Rafe's place. And they go in there, and while Philip and Ava are talking, they overhear them, and so they run into like another room or whatever. And when they come in there, you know, both of them are smelling something that's familiar, like aftershave. What does Philip do? He drenches himself in it? Like, I mean, I guess it really also depends on what kind of aftershave you actually are using. Because some of it can be extremely powerful, and others it's like, you know, kind of mild. You don't really smell it too much, apparently. Jack comes over, and he talks to Abigail. And I'm not gonna lie, Jack told Abigail about Gwen in her past, because they were talking about Xander and they were talking about Gwen and how they're starting to become a thing. And I'm like, alright, fine, whatever. But one thing leads to the next, and Jack is like, yeah, just so you know, about the whole Snyder thing. He's like, well, Snyder was not there using Gwen's past against her. And she was like, you know, what happened? I'm like, Jack, seriously? Don't answer that question. So he answered that question. He's like, oh yeah, you know, Gwen was a you know, a sex worker or whatever. You know, she used to prostitute because, you know, money and, you know, starvation and stuff like that can kind of do a lot to people at times in desperate points in their life. And I'm just not there thinking, bro, listen, that wasn't your secret to sit there and tell her. I get that you want to sit there and try to connect the dots to Abigail to understand why what did Schneider have over Gwen, but that wasn't your secret to tell. Now, granted, that's not really what happened, but he doesn't know that. I mean, you practically just betrayed your daughter's trust and a secret that your daughter wasn't there telling you to Abigail because she simply asked. Really? And of course, Abigail's still feeling bad about, the fall and, her losing a baby because of that. And, Jack is like, hey, listen, we all make mistakes and it happens. We just gotta sit there and do better in the future. I was like, whoa. Don't do that. Don't do that. I mean, granted, again, Abigail was not the reason that Gwen lost the baby. We all know that. But they don't know that. And Jack practically was just like, pacified her like, hey, we all make mistakes. I was like, no. This wasn't a mistake. This was you being reckless with a pregnant woman at the top of the stairs. Don't sit there and try to pass that off like, oh, she just stepped on her shoes or something like that, or she, I don't know, broke her arm by accident or something like that. Like, literally. The fact that another life, that a life inside of her is gone and you're just like, oh, it was just a mistake. Like, and granted, yeah, it was a mistake, but, like, it was also reckless, and that's not something you should sit and be like, oh, well, things just happen. Like, no. Don't downplay that. On top of that, I mean, again, for me, and I know I know a lot of people like to bring up a lot of bad stuff that someone did to kind of like, I don't know, I guess justify why you don't like them, why they don't like them. But like, Abigail says some really terrible things. And granted, those were bad in itself. The amount of terrible things that Abigail said to Gwen about her child and how, she wanted her to get an abortion, this, that, and the third. All that stuff was just terrible. Okay? In itself. Regardless if you're a mother or not. The fact that she was a mother and she said all that? Are you kidding me? And it's just all, oh, well, Gwen came out to Abigail, and wrecked their marriage and everything like that. And I'm like, yeah, I get the anger. And I'm not sitting there saying that it's not justified, but I mean, come on. There's certain things that people say, and it's just like, alright, you went way too far. And as a human being, especially as a mother, it crossed so many lines. I can sit there and talk about this all day. But, yeah. Now I think, and I just be thinking, I'm thinking that the last scene is with Gwen and Xander. And the only thing that really came out of this whole scene is the fact that Gwen and Xander, kind of really start talking about their feelings and what they really mean to each other. And, going forward, like, this is kind of where we are, boyfriend and girlfriend. And, just kind of laying everything out on the table. Granted, I've never really been about the whole coupling thing, but there's something that DC Sanctuary said. Is that Gwen is a lot better for Xander than Sarah was. And I 100% agree with that, because with Sarah, she wanted all the good. She didn't really fully accepted Xander. And a lot of the stuff that he did was like, had to be approved by Xander, and Xander's not there trying to, okay, cool, I'm just going to sit there and get rid of my evil, selfish ways so that way I can be a better person. For her, was definitely not the answer. It was pretty much like you said, conditional. As opposed to Gwen, knowing that she came from a bad past, done bad stuff, and understands how that works, and accepts him, the good and the bad. With Sarah pretty much just accepted the good. Bad, I mean, granted, no one wants, someone to be bad, but she was the type of person that was like, Xander always had to be on his best behavior. He couldn't really be himself, and she didn't really fully accept him. I felt like she just didn't accept him fully, and it could be debated back and forth about, oh, he's a changed man, and yada yada yada, but, I mean, Sarah, looking at it, it's like, alright, yeah, he changed for you. He didn't change because it was a good idea and it was good for him. He only did it for you, and she accepted that. And it's like saying you're going to be with somebody on conditions. Nothing to I'm condoning being a bad person just because, but like, you got to accept everything. So this is why I feel like Gwen works better for Xander than Sarah. Which hopefully at some point they actually do get back to that. But I have a feeling that they're going to try to wait for the original actress or the actress that last played her to come back, and that's kind of a toss-up. Okay, I guess we're still waiting. And yeah, Chloe was there, but she didn't really do anything. I mean, EJ was like kind of coming at her because, you know, the relationship with Philip and being like, you know, making sure you're not like betraying us. And Chloe's like, yo, listen, Philip offered me a job and I turned it down because I felt more valued here and everything like that. And EJ apologized. I can't really think of anything else that happened. If it did, it was very minute, or at least my recollection of it, and I'm pretty sure I'm not saying that right. But anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Let me know what your thoughts are on the best and worst couples of this year. Particularly focused on this year because there was a lot of gaps where I didn't watch some episodes last year, I don't think, and I still feel like I'm pretty new at watching this show. So let me know what your best and worst lists are, something that you feel that will make the list as far as best and worst. With that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching. Be safe. See you in the next video.